All right, guys, what's going on? If you haven't heard, if you've been under a rock, there has been a surprise balance update for Street Fighter V. Out of nowhere. I was not expecting this at all. The servers were down for maintenance last night, interrupting my stream plans. And then I just ended up opening Twitter and I saw the news that the game has changed. They have done a pretty significant balance change in the middle of the season. I mean, I'm literally about to play an LBC in a few hours, and we have Red Bull Kumite, the first offline event since COVID, coming up this weekend, and it's currently Wednesday. So it's a pretty significant change, a disruption of the current meta. But the changes themselves, they're pretty tame. But it's still more of a significant change than we ever see out of the blue. If we've had like a 0.5 patch, like a season 3.5, it's announced far in advance. So this was really surprising. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna talk about a few of the more significant ones in the patch notes, and then kind of go into the lab, try out a few of my characters and see how those things have changed. So they released these patch notes for Street Fighter V. The patch notes for the last season and for this update have been really good, not just kind of listing the mechanical changes with the balance, but actually giving you the developers insight into why they do these changes. So overall, they wanted to balance around V-shift. It's just funny to me because it's a big paragraph. Basically, they're saying they're removing throw invincible moves on wake up because meaty throw is supposed to be the counter to V-shift. If someone V-shifts your meaty throw, you recover fast enough to punish them. But all this said, I only counted 2 changes to throw invincibility in the entire game. They removed throw invincibility on Cammy, EX Arrow, EX Drill, I guess I should say. And the big one is Zangief's EX SPD is no longer throw invincible. So that was like a defensive option he had. If you try to throw him or shimmy him, he could use EX SPD to beat those options. And they got rid of that. So they're trying to put it as a system-wide change, but it really is kind of a nerf to Geef, because Geef was one of the last characters with that sort of a tool, which was throw invincible. And then they said they focus on improving underutilized V triggers and V skills, and then some rebalancing. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but I'll just point out some of the big ones. Nash definitely has a lot of big buffs. They keep buffing this character because since he had his legs chopped off after season 1 for his crimes against humanity and 8 frames of lag, he hasn't been the same since. So definitely buffs here. I'm not going to go over those. You should get on FGC Twitter if you want to learn all about that. I'm going to talk about Cammy because Cammy has claimed her 3rd CPT victory, and it feels like the developers listened. They listened and they said it's time for this character to finally have what's coming her way. I already mentioned the EX Drill nerf. It's no longer throw invincible. They also made it so that it is projectile invincible on frame 4 instead of frame 1, which means she can't immediately go through fireballs. She has to do it a little bit early, so tight fireball spacings will interrupt her, so she's going to have a harder time against fireball characters, that's for sure. They increased the recovery time on whiff on her EX dive kick. So if she whiffs the dive kick, not on block or on hit or anything, so the block advantage is still the same. If she whiffs it, there's 4 more frames of recovery, so you have an easier time getting a big punish on it. I guess that's nice. You shouldn't be whiffing your dive kick regardless, but it's more whiff recovery. And same thing for the hooligan version. And V-Trigger 1 Cannon Strike has the same property where they increase the whiff recovery from 9 to 17. This is important because people were using V-Shift to avoid that really fast dive kick, and you sometimes couldn't punish it. It varies based on the timing when you do the dive kick and when you do the V-Shift, but there were some timings where you literally could not punish it, and now you can always punish it if you get a V-Shift. So basically more whiff recovery, and then that's it. So I don't know, I don't think she's nerfed. Call me old-fashioned here. I feel like this isn't a nerf at all. I feel like this is a slap on the wrist. No one used throw invincibility on EX Drill. She has EXDP, right? And maybe in fireball matchups, that's going to be a big deal, but you know, not every character has a fireball, so it's only certain matchups which are going to get worse for her. And you know, this is just a lesson in why if you nerf a top tier character, you can't go easy on them. You can't go easy on them and give them a slap on the wrist, because you got Cammy mains already coming out of the woodworks with takes like this. Woke up to some big changes. Time to adapt before Sunday and for the rest of the season. Hurricane is the best Cammy representative in Europe, and he's been cooking. He's been dominating the European scene since COVID and before, really. He says, also, you got what you wish for. If you still lose to Cammy, now you suck. LMAO. This is why Capcom, listen, if you're gonna nerf a top tier character that people are complaining about, you need to delete them, because Cammy in 95% of matchups is literally the same. She's the same character. When I'm playing Balrog against Cammy, her lack of fireball invincibility is not going to be something that's swinging the matchup in my favor. I'm not going to be like, oh, great, I'm glad that this matchup is so much more easy and so much more, you know, consistent and fair now. Thank you. No, she's the same. It's just whiff. You're not whiffing EX dive kick, and people are still going to just do jump regular heavy kick and land on you with heavy kick instead of doing the drill. Like, you're going to try to V-shift when she goes into the air, when she does V-trigger one, predicting a V-trigger one dive kick, and she'll just do jump regular heavy kick and smoke you anyway. So I don't know. I think she's nerfed from top 1 to top 1, but I like the energy from Hurricane. I feel like it's a little too early. I don't know what he's talking about, but I respect the strategy to double down here on downplaying your main. You got to respect it in this day and age. Not every character in the game had changes. I'm just going to go over a few. Zangief, like I mentioned, Capcom just hates Zangief. It's funny, in the West, they've called him dead since 2018. And now they finally just said, screw it, get rid of the invincibility on throws on EXSPD. And apparently Japan just holds Zangief in high regard. He's always A tier, no matter what, and a Japanese player's tier list, always. So something's different over there. But on the other hand, Capcom thinks Laura is ass after winning Capcom Cup, and Laura has buffs. So a lot of these buffs are related to V-Trigger 2 and V-Skill 2, but there's like a new combo route she gets where she can do fresh counter overhead as an anti-air into a juggle, which leads into the heavy punch bolt knockdown. So she has like one new juggle combo that is not using V-Skill 2, but the rest of these are related to V-Skill 2, so it's not that big of a deal. They're just trying to buff like the underutilized V-Skill 2 because no one uses V-Skill 2, V-Trigger 2, so I don't really care that much, but I would have just expected some nerfs, please. The big one, I can't stop getting tagged in this one, Balrog. So basically this change is what proved to me once and for all that FGC Twitter literally cannot read, because people were telling me it's the end of -4 because dash straight, medium, and heavy have decreased pushback on block. Now, I don't know about you, but that does not mean that there is a difference in the dash punch on block. It's still -4. I've done some testing, we'll do some more today, but it does have significantly less pushback, making it very difficult to space. It was way abusable before. For some characters, this is pretty hard to punish, and now for some, it's very easy. So I'll demo that. The other one is the forward throw advantage. It went from being -1 after throw into dash to -2. And that's a fair change. Urian got some nerfs. EX tackle is closer on block, so you can throw him after, but now it gives him the perfect 50-50 Aegis mix-ups that people have been posting. So Urian always gets nerfed into having a better mix-up. But the next one I want to talk about is G. G is what I'm going to be playing today for sure. Level 3 G. I think I probably just have to show you it. Level 3 G now has access to level 2 moves by using light punch or medium punch when doing specials, and then heavy punch will be the level 3 version. Meaning level 3 gets the best of both worlds. It gets the best of the fast fireballs and the dynamic conversions that level 2 has, and then also like the big damage conversions and juggles that level 3 has, and the crazy level 3 fireball. Very interesting changes to G here. This might even be a buff to V-Skill 2 because there's more incentive to get to level 3. So they keep giving you more and more incentive to get to level 3. There's all types of new combos and routes that you just could not do before. Basically, his max damage in level 3 is really buffed. Really buffed, so that's really interesting to see. So I'll mess with him. The next one that's interesting is Seth. V-Skill 1 is buffed to give combos on hit. It's +3 on hit, +5 on counter hit, so you can actually link into jab on hit and link into like a medium punch target combo on counter hit and get full combos. And then the V-Trigger 2 is no longer a meme. There's an automatic explode that happens after V-Trigger 2. If you V-reversal, for example, the activation and Seth blocks it, the bomb will just explode on its own. Before, it was a manual input, so if you're blocking, you couldn't cause the bomb to explode. So that was kind of there to mitigate V-shift. People would just V-reversal or V-shift out of the tandem maneuver, the orb, and avoid it. But now it seems kind of real. But I like the V-Skill 1 change. I don't know how to use V-Trigger 2. I might have to learn how to use it. And that's about it. I mean, there's other changes for sure. I'm not going to cover everybody, and not every character received balance changes, but those are the characters that I care about, and I just want to play the game now. It's time to play the game. Let's do that. All right. So how bad is it with the -4? So here's light dash straight. Everything's looking normal. Yeah. That leaves you very close. Oh, it's way less. You can look at the cubes of the feet. So after light, it's like a half square back, and then with medium, it's like 3 lines from his front toe, or more like 4. Very little pushback. And then with heavy, same exact pushback, right? So medium and heavy have the same pushback now, and they go like nowhere. So light actually has superior pushback. Honestly, looking at this, I would have preferred them to leave the dash punches alone. I would have preferred them to, this seems worse than previously. At -6 and -7, they were very difficult to punish. Here's the thing with Sagat's standing jab is one of the best in the game at punishing dash punches. It hits surprisingly far and into pretty good damage, right? You can generally punish. It's very hard to space on Sagat. And that'll lead to like EX Fireball into Tiger Knee. Medium is almost impossible to space on him now. That was like perfect spacing. And see, it's like right about to whiff. And this was very good against Sagat before the medium. So basically, if you have a good 4-frame and you see a medium or heavy, you can probably punish. Like, I'm not gonna be able to dash punch ever on Sakura. This is actually worse than having this at -6 with the old pushback. Once again, sometimes you gotta be careful about getting buffs, because sometimes you get something buffed and then to compensate for it, they over nerf or they nerf in a weird direction where you would have preferred it how it was in the first place. And look at the heavy, look how far away, and that was punishable. That's punishable. So I don't know. I feel like this was a meme change now. It was real before, but now it's a meme. I wish they would just make this -6 and -7. So that's a pretty significant nerf. It's going to affect a lot of matchups. Like the Sagat matchup will definitely be impacted by that. Here's the other change, which this is a pretty significant nerf, but I think it's fair and it's easy to work around. Previously, when you did throw and you dashed up, you were -1. Now you're -2. Before, this was the situation. Even if the opponent knew you're going to do dash up throw or dash up 3-frame and they reacted to it, if they had a 4-frame jab, this was the best that could happen to them, would be you traded. This is how it was previously. Now, because they added an extra frame, even 4-frame jab characters will beat you if you do dash up and you do your fastest button. I think this is a fine nerf. They got rid of this from Seth. Seth had this situation, but Seth had this everywhere on screen, not just the corner. They nerfed that with Seth already, but I think it's fair. It just made it before that if I threw a 4-frame jab character, I would always do dash up light kick after throw. It was very abusable. But now you can just condition them. You can still do dash up, delay button to beat delay tech and block their wake up button. So I think it's fair. I think it's still very strong in the corner. It's just not as mindless against 4-frame jab characters. It does not change the meaty lows. I checked that. Those still work. It does do this though. So this used to trade with 3-frame jabs, and now it trades with 4-frame instead. Anyways, his throw situations are mostly the same. It all works out. I mean, that's pretty much it for Rog. It's just gonna be more difficult to use dash punches in a lot of matchups. That's kind of all there is to it. Let me go on to Seth. Let me show you guys a little bit of Seth. I think they changed the distance on the V-Skill 1. Okay, so it doesn't pull people in as far, but the grab goes further. So basically you're gonna have to space where you can get the combo versus where you need to confirm into the grab. So the grab will always connect because they increase the grab range, but the idea being that you can't always combo into the jab. So yeah, that's the combo, right? That's a real combo now. You can choose damage or choose install. That makes this very dangerous. Now, if you're if you're too spaced, it's not going to work. So you're gonna have to know your ranges. But that said, let's do the math here. If you're +3 without counter hit, you're gonna be +5 with counter hit. And you know what +5 means with Seth. It means dropping your combos. No, it means this. Medium punch. Standing medium punch is a 5-frame move. You can also do medium punch, heavy punch into install. Yeah, you can lead back into it. So if you want install, there's no downside here. If you get the counter hit, you're right, you can lead back into that and you get double V-gauge or triple, because now the pull itself does V-gauge build, which it didn't do before. So from one conversion, you can build a pretty decent chunk of V-meter. So there you go. You build, like, what is that? A third of a bar? Can you go into crouch and light punch it again? Oh, I guess you can, huh? Oh, that's cool. I didn't even think about that. Also, the other thing is, like, the jab is not going to combo from max distance. So if you get a counter hit from far away, You can just make sure your combo works by doing that. Yeah, I think this buff is fine because you still have to be aware of all the spacing. You can't get this unless you sacrifice automatically pulling them in to the install by trying to actually confirm it. And now you have to determine if it's counter hit or not. And based on the spacing, if you're here, you get different conversions, right? You get different combo routes at this distance than you do at point blank distance. You also get different conversions if it's counter hit or not, and depending on the distance as well. So there's a lot of factors to think about. So to maximize this, it's going to take some practice and skill and awareness, but it's still a good buff. So I like this kind of a change. I think this is a really interesting buff for Seth. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm not going to go over the V-Trigger 2 stuff, guys. You got to go somewhere else for that. I'm not big brained enough for V-Trigger 2. Now let's go to G. Because G, my guy G he's looking like a different man these days. You know, he got the hippie haircut, he got the mustache, rocking the mustache, and he's got a little bit more pep to his step. Previously in level 3, the way this operated was that all of your special moves were essentially EX version of your moves, but they were meterless, right? So I can do level 3 rush punch, the EX version of the rush punch always, the EX version of the low always, the EX version of the kick always. Now the way it works is instead of every button doing the same enhanced version, I can now do this. If you don't know what's going on here, the light punch and light kick buttons will do the light versions of level 2 special moves. The medium will do the medium version of level 2 special moves. And then the heavy version will do level 3 like usual. So level 3 used to have issues where you actually had limited routes. Level 2 had a lot of interesting routes where you can do like stuff like this, extend here. Your command grab combos in the corner were actually better. You had more variability. This does mad damage and stun. Point being, he had a lot of variability, a lot of interesting combos and confirms and stuff like that in level 2. And also, sometimes it's not better to have that giant, huge lava fireball, because even though it covers mad screen, this fireball is mad good in some matchups, and you lost these fireballs. These 2-hit fast fireballs are faster recovery and very good in certain matchups. So level 3, you used to get level 3, and then you were stuck doing this always. And this is very jumpable and not as good against certain characters. So now level 3 has mostly the best of level 2. There's some things you can't do from level 2, but also level 3 like free EX moves as well. The big conversions that I found so far that are really different are the command grab combos in the corner. So this was previously the best you could do. 237 damage, 322 stun. That was the best you could do with G level 3. Now you have stuff like this. $289, 435. Way more stun, way more damage. So level 3 gets the level 2 combos for no meter, and by the way, if you're in level 3, you can add more meter on top of it to get more damage. So now the max damage from command grab with all your meter is so much higher than it used to be. 454 damage. This used to be the best you could do. And by the way, this command grab combo is kind of hard. 435. So you get like an extra 20 damage. And the harder combo is now easier. That combo right there, the old combo, you have to manually delay. It's kind of awkward. The new combos with these buffs are easier and consistent and do more damage. I think the big thing is having a lot more utility in neutral. Like having access to this, like your zoning game is so much more dynamic. He did beefy damage for sure from counter hits in level 3, but you get more. So anyways, lots to optimize, right? That's what makes G so fun always, even before now. He's always like had so many routes and so many ways to optimize him. Now there's even more. Like it makes him very fun. If you guys are interested in like character combos and awareness and conversions, G really offers that in a way that not a lot of characters do in this game. Anyways, that's all for the balance changes I wanted to cover in this video. The new version of the game looks pretty exciting. I mean, the Cammy nerfs, maybe not enough, but I've been a Cammy down player for too long. That said, I'm super excited to be playing with these new changes. You know, Balrog got a few nerfs, but I'll still be cooking with them, but I'm definitely excited to play some more Seth and G and try out the new stuff. So let me know what you guys think about the changes, if you got any buffs or nerfs, or if you enjoy the changes or not. And that is all for this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.